Tell us when. Welcome to my BMA podcast. This is my niece, Jocelyn. She's here to. Are you going to interview me?
I thought you were interviewing me.
Or we can interview each other.
How about that? That sounds
Okay.
like a good idea.
You grew up here, out here in Utah your whole life?
Yep, born and raised.
Oh. Are you planning on joining the polygamous group out there?
Absolutely not. Oh, I might get canceled. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Just kidding. Cut that part out. Okay, let me think. What was it like? I have like two different questions and they're getting mixed up. So, what was it like being in prison for how long you were in prison?
What do you mean, what is it like? Like the environment, how I felt, or just, is it like locking yourself up in a room?
Like the environment.
What about a day from start to beginning? So when you wake up to when you go back to sleep, what was the day?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I get up every morning at 5, because they open the doors at 6. So I get up every morning at 5. I put on my shoes. Sometimes we have a curtain, like we put up a curtain, like we put a string up, so we can pull the curtain when we're using the toilet or whatever. Or sometimes you just sit on the toilet, because we're always, most of my bed I've always had a celly. So, but get up, put on your shoes, use the toilet, brush your teeth, and then grab your knife, put it on you, make a cup of coffee, or in my case, like if I have something to smoke, I'll roll me something to smoke, and I'll roll something to smoke and wait for them to open the door at 6 o'clock. Once they open the door, everybody usually have a routine. Some people run to the computer, some people run to the phone. I usually go to the phone and call Laura. And then after that, I just sit around and wait for them to call to move, because I don't go to breakfast. Usually I've been able to hustle and take care of myself pretty good where I don't have to go to the chow hall. So at 7 o'clock, 7:30, they call rec. Then I go out and I try to stay out at rec all day for as long as I can. In Atwater, we didn't have to come back in for lunch. So at 10:30, they call recall, and everybody that comes in, they start lunch at about 11, but you can opt to stay on the yard and skip lunch. So most of the time, I would just stay out on the yard all day. When everybody goes in for lunch, that's when I'll go in and go play handball or something with a few people that's out there. At 3:30, they call recall. That means everybody has to come back from the yard. And we'll all get locked in our cell about 4 o'clock for count. All through the United States, at 4 o'clock, they have a 4 o'clock count. They got to make sure everybody's accounted for. They call region and make sure their numbers matches the region's number. And then about 5 o'clock, they'll let you back out. After 5 o'clock, after we come back out, usually when I come in from the yard, somebody that works in the kitchen would have a bag of meat for me, whether it's chicken, pork, or beef. And there's always people selling stuff. They're always stealing stuff out of the kitchen. So we usually buy our food from the people that come back from the kitchen, and I'll proceed to cook dinner. Make some rice, some stir fry, or whatever it is that we have that day. And for the rest of the evening, I'm just kicking back, watching a movie or something until they lock us down at 8:30, 9 o'clock.
So how were you able to wake up at 5 in the morning? Did you guys have like an alarm? Like how?
No, I mean, you have a clock.
Okay.
But I never use an alarm. And when I was in prison, I never, like out here, I wear a watch all the time just because, home bought it for me. But I usually don't wear any watches because like if you have a watch, because everywhere you go, you got to go through the metal detector. So I don't ever want to get stopped because I set the metal detector off. And I don't want to have to sit there and take off the watch and put it back on. So I never carry anything. I try not to ever carry anything that's going to set the metal detector off. Because usually when I'm moving around the compound, I always have something on me. I either have a knife on me or I have dope on me or other things that I'm not supposed to have. So I try to make sure that I don't get, do anything to get stopped or patted down. Because if you walk through the metal detector and you beep, then the COs that are standing by the metal detector can be like, hey, come over here and pull you off the line and pat you down. Or if he wants to get extreme, take you to a cell or a room and strip you down, and make you like bend over and cough and lift up your nutsack and all the bullshit, right? Yeah. So I don't really like being patted down or being strip searched, so I try to, for the most part, not to carry anything that would set off the metal detector or act in a way where they might be suspicious of my behavior. Mm-hmm.
What were like, did you guys have that one where you could go and buy snacks? Or is that just on movies? No, they
have commissary. Like once a week, you turn in a list. Back then, I don't know how it is now, but back then you used to be able to spend $360 a month. So you can go and spend the whole $360 in one time, or you can break it up, 100 here, 50 there. But your unit only gets to shop once a week. So whatever your day is, you turn in your slip, they come pick it up, and you go and they have it already bagged up for you.
What was it like from the very first day you were in prison to like the first week? We'll do the first week to like the very last week. What was that like for you?
Well, I mean, the first week when I got to Lompoc, it was kind of like a relief because I'm able to walk around on the yard, because in the county jail, I'm just locked down in a cell. Mm-hmm. When I was in the county jail out here in ADC, they had me under higher security, 2-officer full restraints, meaning I can't come out of my cell unless I'm shackled and belly chained with 2 officers in the unit escorting me. So when I finally went to prison, it was a relief because I was able to, walk around without shackles and belly chain, and I was able to play basketball and eat better food, But, like, I don't know, I was never scared of the environment. Like, I knew when I first went in there, when I got off the bus, when you get off the bus, they interview you. They call them SIS, Special Investigation Service. These are like the internal affairs of the prison. They're the one that keeps track of all the gangs, affiliates, and deal with all the different disputes between, when somebody gets in a fight, they find out who it is, what group he belongs to, and they run the security of the prison to keep it safe. So when I first went there, they look on my case and they see that I have an assault on a CO. CO is a correctional officer. And when they see that, they really don't like that much. You know what I mean? They're like, you think you're a tough guy. Because, when you put your hands on one of them, they always want to feel like they want to get some get back or try to put you in a trick bag to get you fucked off or the rest of it. So when I first went in, they seen that I had that on one of my charges. They were like, where are you from? Oh, you from Utah? They got gangbangers out in Utah? Oh, you think you're a gangster? Oh, we got real gangster here. You're in California now. We got real gangster here. And the 3 years I was in the jail, I've been growing out my hair. Mm-hmm. So my hair is like, down to my collarbone. And he's like, you're cute. You got pretty hair. Like, there's going to be some people that's going to like that. I know they were just trying to get me to react to them, so I never really paid them no mind. I just sat there without commenting or whatever. But then they asked me like, you got any reason why you can't be on the compound? And I'm like, no. And then they go and try to tell you how violent it is, that people are getting stabbed up every day, people are getting killed every other week. But, for me, it was just like I expected that this was in my, in my future, or in my timeline. And yeah, I was cool. I mean, from the first day I went up there, I didn't really have any problems.
Sounds like you had some fun in there.
Oh, I had a blast. Like, I always tell we sit down, we joke around like, yeah, if the judge knew how much fun I was having, she'd be mad right now. Because, they want to lock you up and hope that you're just miserable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are miserable. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's just, I'm always going to make the best of my environment. Like, wherever they put me, I'm going to figure a way how to not be happy, but not be miserable at the very least, And I was fortunate enough that I met a lot of good people over there that kind of showed me the ropes and how the politic works and stuff. But at the end, I always carried myself a certain way anyway. You know what I mean? So I've never really had any issues. I mean, I got in a fight at Unicor where I got hit in the head with a hammer.
Okay, I remember that story.
Yeah. So, I mean, no matter how respectful you are, no matter how much you try to stay out of the way, sometimes things just can't be avoided. And when those times arise, you just deal with it. And you move on.
I don't know what's fast. Cut this part. No, I'm just kidding. Give me a question, babe. What's been the best thing so far since you've been out?
Oh, definitely my wife. Like,
Could have put hearts around it.
now sometimes like when you don't realize how much you miss, like just the emotional connection with somebody, and then being in there. I don't want to say you have to put on a persona, but you have to be a little bit harder than maybe you would like. Maybe you have to shield your emotions and really just your feelings. So it's just, and after a while, you're accustomed to it. After a couple of decades, you realize like you don't even realize how much your body craves not even just the physical contact, but just the emotional contact. Just having somebody that cares about you, somebody that's there that, has your best interests at heart. Somebody even just to talk to on a more intimate level. Because a lot of the relationships in there are superficial. I mean, you'll run into a few that, you consider friends. Like I still have people in there that I built a long lifetime relationship with that I still communicate and connect with. But yeah, I mean, the best thing, like hands down, is just being able to, not have to wait, all day long just to talk to someone for 15 minutes,
Yeah.
So.
Is it true? I've heard some things. It's probably just like what I've heard. But is it true that you can't still be homies with the people you met in prison? Like if y'all come out, you guys can't still be friends? Or
No.
can you guys hang out? Be friends still?
Well, what do you mean? Like
Like
where is it that you heard?
If you guys wanted to meet up and hang out, chill, would you guys be able to do that?
Well, I mean, you have to have restrictions when you're on probation that you're not supposed to be around other felons and stuff. But like on a personal level, like there's no politics that keeps you from hanging out and being friends. And matter of fact, like if you and I were friends in prison, you're from a different gang and I'm from a different gang or whatever, but we're friends in prison and we come out and then we're like, or I can't hang out with you no more because you're from a rival gang, they would consider you as a buster. Because were you kicking it with me in there if you're not going to kick it with me out here? And that's why I always, emphasize the point that, when we all end up in prison, we're all forced to sit at the same table, live in the same unit, get along, maybe even eat at the same table. So if we're able to do that in there, why are we not doing it out here? Why are we waiting, trying to kill each other out here just to go to prison and kick it?
Yeah.
So that's what, that's part of the mentality that I'm trying to push out here is like a lot of these dudes out here, they're killing each other out here, but their homeboys is in the joint hanging out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I think a lot of people are starting to get hip to that. Like, why are we wasting our lives shooting at each other just to hang out one day in the pen?
Yeah. How's your dog Kiki doing?
She's a little hippo.
Insert picture.
If you could go back in time and ask yourself, or talk to your past self before you went to prison, what would you tell yourself, or what would you talk to yourself about?
I mean, I really don't think about that, but let's just say if there was a possibility for me to go back in time and redo some things or whatever, I would have went to the military. Because I believe that would have fit my personality. I'm a little extreme. And for some reason, since I was young, I have a lack of fear, in dangerous situations. And so I think the military would have been good just for the simple fact that I would have learned some skills, and yeah, I'd probably be dead in the war or a 5-star general right now, so, but, because even then, you really don't know, like, what you're going to be, how, as far as, like, what kind of occupation you're going to get into. So I think the military would have helped me develop skills that maybe, hopefully, would be able to transition into some job in the civilian world. But, yeah, I definitely would have went into the military.
Do you feel like you have no regrets as far as where you came from and where you are now?
I mean, where I am today, I don't have any regrets. I mean, I regret that I went to prison. I regret that I missed, all my brothers and sisters growing up, missed all the nieces and nephews being born. But, and maybe I would have learned, like, the life lessons while I was out here. But I don't know if I would have or not. If I didn't go to prison, I mean, I wish I didn't have to go for, over 2 decades, but at that time, I was either going to end up dead or end up killing somebody and maybe end up with a couple of life sentences because, I was kind of wild, I guess. Yeah.
So, you gonna be a tattoo artist too now since you opened the shop?
I'm gonna do some tattoos, maybe, but I love to tattoo.
Only on certain people, though.
But it's my eyes that messes me up because it's just like without my glasses, I can't see, anything further than this. Right here is already blurry. But with my glasses on, I can't see anything. And so I'm just stuck. I'm like, my eye sucks. Yeah. It's been this way since I was a kid. So, like when I draw, I can't draw with my glasses on because I can't see it. So when I take them off, I'm like this. My face on the freaking paper, my nose on the paper. But I tattooed before.
Can I get any closer than this?
Well, you gonna let me tattoo you?
Of course.
a shark.
Okay, I'll pick something now. What do you want?
You gotta pick something fancy, something that's gonna like challenge me.
What about like something Kamari?
Yeah, I can. Look, I did a tiger's face with some bamboo leaves. You know, like if you're in the jungle.
Yeah.
And he's creeping up, and you know, he's in between the leaves.
And how long ago was this? Do you have
2021.
Oh, that was like right before you got out, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were on lockdown. We were on the COVID lockdown.
Oh,
so you only get to come out like an hour one day, and then it progressed to like 2 hours. So when we were able to come out for the 2 hours, I come out, jump in the shower, clean up, and then, you know, then he'd come in my cell and I'd tattoo him.
Did you ever drop the soap?
See, in the federal prison, the showers are individual stalls. So
okay.
It didn't matter if I dropped the soap or not. That's in the state prison where you have to, and that's one thing that I've been fortunate enough not to have done all these years.
Yeah.
But in the state prison, it's a stall. You got 10 showers and you're in there, and yeah, that's where that came from. Yeah, and they literally do have a soap on a rope. You know, especially in the juvenile system in California, it's really bad. You know, because those kids go in there, they're still, you know, like, yeah, I'm from this gang, I'm from that gang, and the environment in there don't allow them to like pivot, you know, their way of thinking. And when you come in, you know, they're gangbanging, and they tell you, man, you better not drop that soap. And you know, when you first get in there, you know, these are the stories that I've done a lot of time in California. So when these guys come in from California and they tell me how their juvenile system is, like, you know, some of the juvenile system out in California is just as bad as the penitentiary. Yeah. You know, and the politics is even worse because there's no room for these kids to really like stand on their own 2 feet. Like they can't be independent. With everybody that comes through, you're forced to align yourself with somebody. If you're not, because you know at the age you come through in juvenile system, you could be 12 years old and you could be in there with somebody that's 21. You know, so you know there's not much different when you're 40 and 25. You're already grown. But a 12-year-old and a 21-year-old is a drastic difference in size, in strength, and in the mental state. You know, so when these kids come in, these young kids, they're really forced to align themselves with one group or another because if they're left out on their own, these freaking predators coming. You know, and I don't understand why they don't think they're gay. You know, if you get aroused touching another dude or having another dude touch your junk, you're gay.
You're a booty bandit.
Yeah, you know. They're like, no, it's not. It doesn't count if you're locked up.
I think that's where it counts the most.
Right?
Did you ever get COVID in prison? That was so weird.
No, I never got sick in prison. Like, I've been sick like 5 times in my whole entire life. I've been sick a couple times in prison. I never got sick with the COVID, but before I was coming home, they were offering the vaccine. And, you know, right before I came home, they had locked me up for under a homicide investigation because somebody got killed in my block. So they took me to the SHU. While I'm in the SHU, I'm waiting to come to the halfway house, but the state of Utah put charges on me from back in '98, and so I had to fight that. And then I was like, man, after I cleared that, I was still in the SHU for the investigation, and I was just like, man, I don't want something else to, because you know you watch the news and Biden is telling he's mandating all these federal workers to have the vaccine, and then I see on the news that you couldn't go into certain restaurants or certain stores if you didn't have like a card that showed that you were vaccinated.
That lasted for about a week.
Yeah. Well, when the news, they lie to you. So, they're always pushing that. They're always, but it might have lasted about a week here in Utah because you're in a more conservative state. But in New York, there were basketball players that were refusing to take the vaccine, and they wouldn't let them play basketball. And one of them was, what's his name? Kyrie Irving. He refused to take the vaccine, and they weren't letting him play any of their home games. So I was just like, man, if they're doing that out there like that, I was in the mind state of like, man, I don't want something else stopping me from coming home. So I took the vaccine, and since I've been home, I've been sick like 5 times.
Because of that vaccine?
I really believe it was because of that. I believe that shit messed up my immune system.
Have you seen like all the athletes who work out?
Yeah, they're falling out, heart attack, dying. Yeah,
and they backed it up, and it's because of that vaccine that they forced everybody to take.
No, and then it's so misleading and disingenuous that these people, because of their political ideology, is still pushing that poison. Before they pushed the vaccine out, they had a clause in there that the pharmaceutical companies, the people that created these vaccines, had absolute immunity from any type of prosecution. They knew that this shit didn't work, but I mean, we want to get on there. Yeah, it was a money grab. Like all of them got rich. The pharmaceutical companies got rich. The politicians got rich because they had all their family members invested in all these freaking pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, we lost out. The public lost out. They robbed us. Then they were giving money to companies and corporations, and they tell them, oh yeah, we'll give you the money to make sure so that you don't fire your employee. And no one really knows how those money got allocated, but here's the one thing that no one ever talk about. They gave the banks $25 billion. Okay, they gave the banks $25 billion, and they told the bank that they didn't have to pay the government back so as long as they made loans to people that needed loans to stay in their house or whatever. So I'm a bank. I get $25 million. I loan you $1 million of it. But when I loan the money to you, you got to pay it back to me plus interest. So not only now do I get to keep the $25 billion that the government just gave me to make a loan to you, I'm collecting interest off of you for the next 30 years, the rest of your life. And a 30-year mortgage, if you buy something for $1 million, if you have a 30-year mortgage, by the time you're done paying it, it's $3.3 million in return. So the bank just came up on like $75-80 billion off the vaccine. No, it was a cold scam. They know it's a scam, but they're still pushing it. They're still pushing it now. Yeah, we're probably going to get canceled for talking about the vaccine.
That's fine.
I should have said jab. I bet the jab.
I never got the vaccine.
No, it's good.
Because they were trying to make me for work, because I work in a school.
Yeah.
I work for the state of Utah, and I was telling the lady who I work with, I was like, I would be honest with you. You can have your own opinion, but I'm not getting that shot. Here are my reasons. I don't like it. I don't even know what's in it. I don't know what big words they're using. I'm not getting it. I'm sorry. She said, oh, don't worry. She's like, I got it, but it's fine if you don't want to. So I was like, yeah, I'm not getting it.
Yeah, that shit was a hoax. Total freaking hoax.
And then you also had to pay for it, too. I was like, I'm not paying for a shot that I don't want.
I thought they were giving it out for free.
Towards the end, because nobody was wanting it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, free shots. Here we go. Here we go. No. Even though it's free, still not getting it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, then I walk around here, and I still see people with masks on, and I'm just like, really? Like, you still...
I mean, if the air quality is bad enough, I would wear a mask because of asthma. Like out in China, they wore masks way before.
Oh yeah,
COVID.
but yeah, they're wearing it because
But
of pollution, not because
their
of some
pollution
virus.
is terrible.
Yeah, no.
Terrible.
But they're putting that shit in our food now. I was watching YouTube and they had this big old slab of meat that they were pushing through this process and it was getting sprayed. And they were spraying the vaccine in the meat.
Are you serious?
And they had a bill, they just had a hearing about this program in California that they wanted to inject vaccine into our lettuce and cabbage. So even though you didn't take the vaccine, now you're eating food product that have it in there.
They just want everybody to get sick.
Now, there's something in there that they're not telling us that...
they're pushing out onto it.
Yeah, because the technology now, 30 years ago they could create a steam engine the size of a ballpoint pen. They created a radio that was just as small. Now they have technology that's, the ones that we used to know before was the nanotechnology, which was, nano, whatever hell nano size is, very small, you can't see it. But they have technology now that they can have computer chips and stuff that are even smaller. And so, they can inject those things into you. Yeah. And those things can be used to, affect your nervous system, control your behavior, control your thoughts, and all the rest of it. At the end of the day, the world's elite, their program is to be in control of everything and every person. Us being in America, having our Constitution, protecting our liberty and our rights and stuff, they don't like that. They want a bunch of freaking zombie that's going to go and mind their freaking mines, work their fields, pick their crops, clean up their house, and all the rest of it while they ride around and fly around private jets. They're trying to, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but they are trying to enslave the world. Yeah. And if people don't wake up, they're going to do it, But we all get caught up in our political affiliation and our ideology and, oh, this sounds good, or you're hateful this, you're hateful that. For me, I can't vote, so I can only look and see, and for me, how I gauge if, the politician is for you or not, is if this law they're trying to pass, you ask yourself one question: does this law restrict my liberty, restrict my freedom, or does it expand my liberty, expand my freedom? And that will tell you what side these politicians are on. It doesn't matter what they say. We can all make our lips move and make whatever sound, make whatever words come out of it. But our deeds at the end of the day tells you who you really are. I say, yeah, we were here for equal rights and liberty and freedom, but they're constantly passing laws that restrict those things. And you're going to have to acknowledge that these guys probably are not, fighting for your freedom and your liberty.
Yeah. So can you not vote because you went to prison, or?
Yeah, I can't vote because I'm a felon. Once you become a felon, you get a lot of rights stripped away from you. I can't own a firearm. I can't sell alcohol. So I can't get a liquor license. I can't even be a realtor until I'm either 7 years out or 7 years after I'm off probation. Don't quote me on that one.
Wow.
But I cannot be a realtor at this time in my life.
Wow.
And there's other occupations that you can't be because you're a felon.
That's crazy.
So when you come home and you're a felon, you don't really have much options as far as what occupation, what field you want to get into. And the most common field that people get into is just manual labor. You know. Yeah, the easiest job for me to get was a construction worker. Go haul some mud. Yeah, go haul some mud.
But now look at you. You open up your own tattoo studio, have your own YouTube channel.
Yeah, it looks good on the surface. I haven't made any money yet.
You have your own podcast room in your tattoo studio.
In my garage, in my tattoo studio. But, you know, yeah, I don't want to break my back working for somebody else. And I know that it takes time for any of these things to get to the success level that I can eventually live off of. But, you know, I feel better that I'm pursuing something that I'm passionate about as opposed to just waking up and going working for somebody. You know. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on your podcast. No, your YouTube.
Podcast / YouTube? What is this?
This would be considered a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Your podcast channel.
Man, I think we could probably use this clip